Hey everyone, Tim with Ghost Towns of Washington, and today we are still out in the Okanogan area and we're checking out the old town site of Ruby, which there really isn't a lot left of. Ruby was a mining town out here in the 1800s, and there's a little bit of evidence that Ruby existed, so we're going to take a walk around and show you what we can. But again, we appreciate you coming along with us and following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And please remember to subscribe to our channel, and our search for Ruby begins now. So we're out here on the Forest Service Road, and if you look both directions up and down, and I'll put a photo up, either side of this would have had the town of Ruby, lining it on both sides with the various structures and buildings that were here. Silver was discovered out here in 1886 on the slopes of Ruby Mountain and Peacock Hill, and by 1887 this mining district was created, and the camp grew up along Salmon Creek here and became known as Ruby or Ruby City. And as I mentioned earlier, it was also known as the Babylon of the West, and was one of the most infamous or famous mining towns in the Northwest. And Ruby had a population of 700, and by 1888 there were 70 buildings out here, and they were located all along Main Street, which is the road we're on. And in 1888, Ruby was briefly declared the county seat for about 11 months. So we'll walk up here and see what we can see as far as anything that remains. So in the early 1890s was when the beginning of the end for Ruby started to occur. There were many challenges with the declining prices of silver. There was a lack of quality of ore. And by the fall of 1894, there were only a few dozen residents left in this one booming mining camp and town. So if we look over here, you'll see some depressions in the ground, and this is probably some of the better evidence that there was a town out here and there were structures here. Again, it's really hard to make it out, but you can maybe see there, I can just kind of point at it, right down in here and up and over this depression. We're gonna take a walk up and down the side here. Years ago, I know when I was out here, we were able to find some, maybe some brick and some more definitive evidence of structures, but it's been a number of years and I'm not really sure what's left out here, but we'll see what we can find for you. So we'll keep walking here, and if we come across something, we'll definitely share it with you. So as we were walking around, here's another good depression in the ground where you can tell where a structure had been. You can see the stones that were stacked here. You can make that out a little bit, and they kind of come up over here. And then if I stand up over here, you can maybe see through some of the brush. I'll step down in this, give you a better idea. There's a little bit of wood out here, but I'd be really surprised if it had anything to do with Ruby. I don't think it did. It was probably from something later. But here you can make out the corner, and I'll try to get my shadow out of the way, of these stones. So this would have been a foundation for one of the structures here at Ruby. So if you come out and look around along the road, you could probably find some things. Walk back out to the road, and they do have an interpretive sign here. So I'll take another shot before we look at the sign straight down the road here. So looking in that direction. So when I put up a photo, you'll kind of get an idea of what it looked like now and what it looked like when Ruby was here. And there is the sign. Okay, so we'll look over here and just see if we can see any other remains of foundations or anything from ruby. So there were numerous structures, as I mentioned, 70 of them at one time. So if you spend some time out here, you'll probably find some other evidence of where ruby might have been as far as the buildings. I know there's some people out here in Okanogan and the historical associations that have done a tremendous amount of research and coming out here, so could reference some of that material as well. We see some flat spots now and again as we're walking around out here, but it's really hard to pinpoint every detail and spot. So again, along the road, you'll see these flat areas kind of, I don't know, 30, 40 feet off the road. And you can tell the depressions of where there probably was a structure, as it's got kind of a higher back into the hillside. Then it's got these higher, steeper sides. So you can definitely see these at cabin sites a lot. And if you walk along here, there are other depressions that were probably the foundation area of some buildings. And there's another one here. And there is another one right next to this one. I'll kind of walk back in here to see if I can illustrate it a little better, so you can see kind of where it's bermed up here and it comes back around, and then again it's bermed up on this side as well. So again, there isn't a whole lot left of ruby out here. There's a little bit of evidence. And some sort of a kind of an old road. Could have been from that era, could have been from something later. We'll just kind of walk along it for a minute. Again, here's another pit right here that would have been maybe the bottom level foundation for something. Could have been an outhouse. Looks like there's some other depressions possibly over here in this brush. All right, well, we definitely want to say thank you for coming along with us on this adventure. We appreciate you following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.